knots will stop for all ECAM cautions and warnings. Above 100 knots will stop for any ECAM warnings, a blocked runway, flight control malfunction and an engine power loss. And if a fire bell goes off, with or without a power loss, we shall stop. If this occurs after V1, we'll take the problem into the air, and if there has been a power loss, give me toga automatically on both engines and tell me you're doing it. Call me positive climb and I'll ask you the
ECAMs referred to stand for Electronic Centralized Aircraft Monitors and provide the crew with an extra degree of safety by monitoring all the systems in service and alerting them to any faults. Once the cockpit checks are complete, the co-pilot runs down the pre-start checklist.
They are removed, are on and auto,
ADIRs,
are nav.
fuel,
We have 11 tons. Yeah.
takeoff speeds,
Discussed, 134, 138 and 140 magenta. And I'll just...
flex temp,
Flex temp is 35 degrees.
altimeters,
Altimeters, further check, 1025 gives me 510 feet on the QNH. Once, twice, thrice. Cross check.
instruments,
They're checked.
and departure brief.
It's complete.
While preparations are underway up front, the passengers settle in for the flight. It's important that the captain keeps in contact with them too during the journey.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning. The captain speaking. My name's Dave Steely. On behalf of myself, the crew and Monarch Airlines, you're very welcome aboard our Crown Service scheduled flight to Malaga this morning. Please sit back, relax, enjoy yourselves, and we'll be on our way just as quickly as possible. Thank you.
With the luggage loaded, there's a final check before the hatches are secured. The area around the aircraft has to be completely clear before the main engines can be fired up.
Right, before... Alpha start checks, please.
AP bleed,
Is off.
anti,
Is off.
spoilers,
They are armed.
rudder trim,
Is 0.
and the flaps,
Are 3. Required 3 is set.
pitch trim,
Pitch trim is 0.9 down.
APU,
Is off.
and ECAM status.
Is checked. Taxi clearance, please.
Monarch 012, taxi please.
Monarch 012, taxi holding point Bravo 1, runway 08, QNH 1025.
Bravo 1 for 081025.
Clear your side? And clear my side. We're off at schedule 45.
All airport taxiways have to be resurfaced periodically, but manoeuvring past obstructions when the wheels are out of sight isn't easy.
Just keep an eagle eye while we do this jiggle around the roadworks. Okay, approach looks clear. We'll take off pitch, please.
Flight control,
They're checked.
departure brief,
Nothing's changed. It's a Crompton 2 Charlie, 4,000 feet, the first block altitude.
transponder,
0351 is auto and set.
ECAM memo,
No blues.
come on warning,
You sat the girls down.
yep,
Below the line, please.
engine mode select,
Is normal.
packs,
Are on.
checks complete sir.
With takeoff clearance already given, the A320 is allowed to swing straight onto the runway.
Take off.
Together.
Flex 35 SRS runway.
Check. Power set.
Cue.
That thumping sound comes from the nose wheel riding over the centerline lights, set like cat's eyes on the runway.
100 knots.
Check 100.
V1. Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear up. Manage navigation.
Check. Gears up.
Thank you.
It was at the Paris Air Show of 1981 that Airbus Industry announced it was going ahead with the A320. The objective was to build what was called a truly economic replacement for the obsolete, fuel-thirsty, narrow-bodied aircraft currently in service. Primary targets were airlines using Boeing 737s and the Douglas DC-9s. But it was in the Europe of the mid-60s that the Airbus story had begun. The main aircraft building companies of Britain, France and Germany created a consortium to develop ideas around a European 225-seat air transport. State-of-the-art technology was to be the key to its development. As time progressed, other countries became involved in the project, notably Spain and Holland. By the spring of 1971, a prototype Airbus A320 was coming together at the main factory in Toulouse, France. The wings, designed and built by Hawker Siddeley in Britain, arrived at the assembly hall towards the end of that year. Over the next 2 years, every part was tested. The undercarriage was pounded on special rigs, simulating thousands of landings. The wingtips were flexed upwards with force far greater than would ever be met in flight. 4-pound chickens were fired into the engines to simulate bird strikes. Nothing was left to chance. As a key partner in the Airbus project, it was appropriate that the launch customer for the A320 should be French. Air France had been instrumental in ensuring the success of the Airbus concept by its continued support with orders and options. Even today, Air France's commitment to Airbus is only matched by Lufthansa and the giant American carrier Northwest Airlines. The success of the A320 surprised even Airbus industry. They decided to develop a smaller, shorter-range series. This was to be the A320. The desire to push ahead with ever more advanced technology led to the development of the glass cockpit, designed by German car manufacturer Porsche, with conventional instruments replaced by small television screens. Even more surprising for the pilots was to find that their traditional control column had completely disappeared. It had been replaced with a small remote control side stick. Not since the 1940s had such fundamental change been seen on the flight deck. It was now the A320's turn to take the punishment meted out by the testers. So much innovation was being introduced at the same time, Airbus industry knew it was absolutely essential to ensure that everything worked and nothing broke. In February 1984, the A320 was rolled out to begin a rigorous program of 1,200 hours of flight testing. Pushed well beyond the limits of ordinary operation, the A320 was to be subjected to ice, snow, and just about the ultimate in wet runways. The A320 passed with flying colors. It had cost $1.7 billion to develop, but now Europe had another aircraft with which to challenge the American aviation giants. By 1994, 39 customers around the world had ordered a total of 640 aircraft at $36 million each. The gamble had paid off. Among those customers is Monarch Airlines. Back on board our flight to Malaga, Captain Steely and his co-pilot are monitoring the screens of the flight management system.
We're routing towards Ortac, which is a point in space, then to Guernsey, or overhead Guernsey. That's Guernsey, Jersey. This is the northern coast of the Brest Peninsula. This is the Cherbourg Peninsula, running around to, that'll be Le Havre there. And on our right-hand side, that's the south coast of England.
Those miniature TV screens, the CRTs, can display almost any information the pilot needs at the touch of a button. If there's a technical problem in flight, there's no need to look up a reference manual. The problem and the answers are on the screen.
This is one of the differences between most other aircraft and A320 or the Airbus family is this system display. The big difference is that if anything goes horribly wrong, the checklist, we haven't got a checklist. It all comes up, what to do comes up on the television screen. But that's one of the differences between an Airbus and a Boeing, is Boeing just do not come up with checklists. You have to delve down and get a bit of paper out and do it.
There's a last radio check with base.
Right, do you want to speak to mission control before we go out of range?
And the Airbus moves out of UK radio contact and out over the Bay of Biscay.